Hey everyone! If you're watching this video on the day it was released, then you might realize I posted it on a Saturday, when usually I post on Fridays. I made a post recently about how my YouTube stats were telling me that more of my viewers are watching YouTube at this time on Saturdays compared to my usual upload time, so I asked how you'd feel if I switched my upload day. And I was honestly shocked at how unanimous the response was. So from now on I'll be posting at 6 p.m. GMT on Saturdays. I wrote down what that is in a few different places here to try and help you. If your time zone isn't here, you can just Google the conversion. Anyways, I hope that clears things up, and now we can talk about the video. This idea was technically my own. I hinted that Isuka had written a fan fiction about it in this video here, and one of my closest friends, Vinny, suggested I actually turn it into a video, which I hadn't even considered, but then decided it could be fun. So thank you, Vinny, I love you. Now finally we can get into it. This story is set in an entirely alternate universe to MHA. There are no quirks, and the world is a lot more technologically advanced than what we know today. You'll learn more as we go. Let's get into it. All systems running smooth again today. I fixed up that strap in the cargo bay last night. Kinda wish there was more to do. Don't say that, Kirishima. Just appreciate that we haven't encountered any danger in a few months. For real. That asteroid field back in February was the most terrified I've ever been in space. Seriously? That was nothing. Come on you guys, stop wishing the worst upon us. We're almost at 5T673. Let's keep our positive vibes up. Aye Captain. Katsuki stretched in his seat and continued clicking around his control buttons. He and Jiro had been piloting their spacecraft for almost a year now, but when you're hurtling through space at a speed faster than light in a straight line, there's never much to do. Momo was the captain of their experimental team, whose current mission was to reach a black hole that had been discovered just over 1,000 light-years away, and with their warp drive technology they knew they could reach it within a year. Every member of this team had effectively signed away their lives, knowing that their research on black holes would be detrimental to future human sciences. Of course, they all hoped their leading theories were true and that they in fact wouldn't immediately be torn apart by the gravitational pulls, but they had no way to know until they got there. Here's our Slay Space team. Any day now. The signal is even starting to show up on the navigation system. We'll likely be upon 5T673 within the week. I'm so hyped. I can't believe we're almost there. Whatever happens, I never would have gotten through this year without you guys. Thank you. Don't start getting all sappy now. We aren't gonna die. You don't know that. We can have faith though, babe. Sigh, I guess. Sorry for always taking everything so seriously. You're good, Cap. We would be like a bunch of buffoons without you here. Being stuck together, just the 5 of them for an entire year, they'd become as close as family, along with their Capcom back at mission control on Earth. When the messages are this color, the voices are coming through Katsuki's earpiece. Team status? Ida-san, good morning. We're all good up here. Don't give up on us yet. It looks as though you'll reach destination sooner than we expected. I was predicting within the week. Think within 24 hours. The gravitational pull is speeding you up the closer you get. But we're still light years away. It's that strong? Shit, are we actually gonna die? I don't have much reassurance to offer. Stay strong. All we can do is believe. You'll go down in history no matter what. Of course, as long as our research can help future generations, I'll be grateful for our sacrifice. I sure as hell don't plan on croaking just yet. Let this motherfucker pull us in. You're insane. 18 hours later. The ship was shaking. Their bodies felt as though they were being pulled apart in every direction, but it barely lasted 10 minutes, and their ship held on all the way through. You're at the deepest point. Whatever happens now, the mic in their ears fizzled to nothingness, and as each member of the team gripped their seats and groaned in pain, they were suddenly flashed with the brightest light they'd ever seen, instantly squeezing their eyes shut and inwardly praying to whatever higher power they may or may not have believed in before this moment. When the light faded, Katsuki reopened his eyes, looking out the front window at the surrounds of space once again greeting them. Their warp core had burned up and they were barely moving forward at all anymore. His eyes scanned their screens and switches. The ship was bleeping and emergency sirens were blaring, lights flashing with all kinds of error messages. Shit, Kirishima, we need you up here. Assess the situation. Fuck man, everything's fucked. I can't fix any of this shit right now. We're unpowered. Nav system is still online. There's a planet to our left. We're being pulled into the atmosphere. Is everyone okay? I hit my head. The comms are still down. Mission to star, mission to star. Mayday, our ship has sustained irreversible damage. Holy shit. You guys, we got spat out of a white hole. They don't exist. He's right. That's what the light was. We could be anywhere in the universe right now. You guys realize we're getting awfully close to this planet, right? We have no thrusters. We'll have to attempt a controlled landing. We don't know anything about this planet. We could burn up in the atmosphere, or we have no other options? Shit. I love you guys. Strap the fuck in. Kirishima rushed back to his seat as the spacecraft descended into the unknown planet's atmosphere. Katsuki and Jiro controlled the ship best they could, and by the time they slammed to the ground it was a miracle they were all mostly unharmed. The ship, however, was a different story. We better hope this rust bucket is at least salvageable. Momo, come let me patch up your head. We aren't leaking oxygen, but with limited power we can't generate more. Kirishima, that's your priority. I'll check the food supplies. Water production was unscathed. We're so lucky, oh my god. Don't celebrate yet. If we can't sort oxygen production out, then it's all over. Do you know if mission control got our data? Comms cut out as we breached the black hole. We probably got way too far away for even our technology to handle relaying shit. But this wasn't for nothing. Ito would have seen what happened to us, and would have all the readings from our ship's system before we were sent here. So it's valuable. So our main goal was a success, right? Mission succeeded? Yeah, we did what we came to do. I'm not gonna sit around in here. Let me get my gear on and head outside. Are you crazy? We don't know what's out there. And we won't ever know unless someone goes out to test shit. I'll be fine. The others continued taking inventory aboard the ship as Katsuki got into his external spacesuit, heading out to the hatches and closing up safely behind himself. Until he was outside, his ears were instantly hit with the symphony of alien sounds. It was clear they'd landed on a planet with living organisms. That much became obvious purely from the ground he was stood upon. It's like grass, but pink and almost feather-like. And those trees, if I can call them that, they look like fucked up trees to me. I'll bet they feel fuzzy. After he'd looked around to ensure they weren't in any imminent danger, Katsuki activated his comms to talk to his teammates still inside. Captain, once you're done with Eureka you should get out here. We need to run some tests on the atmosphere. I think we got lucky. What's it like? Weirdly similar to Earth. I doubt the atmospheric pressure and gases are any similar. I dunno, I feel pretty damn normal. That's because you're wearing a suit. Not a smartass, I'm just saying. I have a weird hunch. This place is pretty neat. You've been out there 5 minutes, Bakugo. I don't think it's time to call it home. I'm just getting my suit on. Be out in a sec. By the time the captain had exited the ship, with her scientific testing gear in hand, Katsuki had already begun attempting to climb a tree. What are you doing? You don't know what that's made of. It could pierce your suit or... I want to get a better look at the land. Don't worry about me, just run your tests. God, you're going to give me heart failure one of these days. Holy shit, everything is so colorful out here. Why are you outside? I haven't tested anything yet. I gotta check the damage to the exterior of the oxygen system. Ignore the guys, babe, just do what you gotta do. You want me to come help? Sigh. No, it's okay. You and Ochako should stay inside. In case something out here is toxic enough to get through the suits. 3 of us being exposed to it is enough. She began testing the ground, the air, and even what looked like nearby water of some kind, letting her tech analyze the safety of their new surroundings. Meanwhile, Katsuki had made it to the top of a nearby tree and could see down the valley to what looked like a forest. Oi, these trees are fuzzy. They're soft like cotton. Holy shit. Did I hear that correctly? The tests are coming back so normal. This place really is just like Earth. Switch a few elements around, sure, but it's all non-toxic? How could that be? So I can take my suit off? No, there's still a few things in the air that my device has no data on. New atoms, new gas. I'm not sure yet, I'll have to research these samples inside. But we cannot get reckless just because the other readings are safe. Man, this stupid suit makes it difficult to work on the detailed bits. How's it looking anyway, man? Katsuki clambered back down the tree and headed over to assess the exterior damage with Kirishima. It's a bit of a mess, but I think I can handle it. The oxygen, water and food production are the priority and I can make it work. We might have to cut back on the general power on the ship though. You'll keep my medical supplies cooled though, right? That's also a priority. Yeah, of course. Not that I plan on letting anything here fuck me up. You're literally the most reckless of us all. I'll be bandaging you up in a week. I'll bet by tomorrow. You girls have no fucking faith, huh? They care about you in their own way, dude. Yeah, I assume I'm not allowed to explore at all today, Cap? I'd really rather you didn't. We should all stay inside the ship as much as possible until oxygen production is back online. We can sort out food rationing in case of more power loss, and just get some rest. True, I can't believe it was less than 24 hours ago that we first realized we were nearing our destination. Such a long day. Alright, we're heading back in, right? Right behind you, man. The team gathered together in the main room of their ship. Eureka had patched a small cut on Jiro's shoulder and Momo had gathered her samples into the research bay, but it was time to actually discuss a plan moving forward. I say we build a hut. What an incredible idea. Come on you guys, we're literally stranded on an alien planet. How are you both still cracking jokes? It already happened. Might as well make the most of it. Who knows, maybe you'll find yourself an alien waifu. I'm glad you're not all completely despairing at least, but the fact of the matter is that we are stuck here. Assuming we can survive indefinitely with the resources we can produce on board the ship, we may lose power. And we definitely don't have enough power to try and send any sort of message back to Earth. Yup, but we all signed the contracts. And besides, I'm sure we'll find a way to generate more power here eventually. We already know this planet has running water. We go back to the days of water wheel power. It'll be fun. And if you keep running tests with everything, we can do a ton of research. I might be able to create new medicines that would never exist on Earth. See babe, you're a great captain, and we're still your team. We can get through this together. We're the first humans on this planet, first humans to go through a black hole. We can literally do anything. I'm perfectly content spending the rest of my life here. I wouldn't hate it, but it would be totally cool if we could at least send a message back to Earth eventually. I'll work on the oxygen overnight. No Kirishima, you need sleep just as much as the rest of us. We can last over a week with what we have. There's no need to rush, let's just rest up. Grub time? Then bedtime. Over the next few days the team worked on creating a sort of foundation to work from. Jiro helped Kirishima with the ship maintenance. Eureka helped Momo with her testing and research, while Katsuki explored the area surrounding the crash site, going a little further out each day. He had already encountered some living beings, but they all seemed to act similar to the usual undomesticated wildlife of Earth. They ran the moment they saw him coming. He had taken note of a weird feeling he'd been getting every time he stepped foot outside the ship. The team called him crazy and paranoid, but he was so certain they were being watched by something. On the 5th day he set out with a goal, find what was watching him, and he didn't want to go back till he found it. So he headed out down the valley to the forest, further than he'd been before. Bakugo, where are you going? Are you stalking me? I happened to come into the cockpit to get Kyuka's bag. You know our suits have trackers. You're getting awfully far from the ship. I'll be safe, I swear, just checking the forest out since I've not been down here yet. If you find yourself in danger, you know your training, yes? Of course Cap, come on, don't worry about me. Just because you say that doesn't make it easy. I know, but I promise I'll be fine. She hummed in hesitant approval and Katsuki grinned, ducking under branches and stepping through the thick grass which was steadily growing in height. He wished he could take off his stupid gloves and really feel the trees around him, but he didn't particularly feel like exposing himself to potentially toxic gases and immediately dying out here. He made sure to keep looking up every so often, looking through the gaps toward the ginormous blue planet off in the distance. As long as he continued heading in that direction, then he could make sure he wasn't going in circles. After about an hour of walking he finally started to see a break in the trees. They were getting more sparse as he found himself heading deeper into large rock formations. I'm not about to go fucking caving on an unknown planet. I could try climb this shit instead. He contemplated his options for a while, testing his grip on the rocky surfaces and peering deep into the dark caverns. But just as he'd decided to try his luck with climbing, he heard a deep rumble coming from the cave before him. The sound reverberated off the walls, unsettling the dust and pebbles as they vibrated against the ground, and Katsuki felt his heart begin to race with fear. He fumbled with his suit as his feet nervously shuffled backwards, pressing the button to get his comms back on, but his ears were instantly filled with static. What the fuck? Hey, do you guys hear me? Static. His heart dropped, but as the rumbling grew louder his fight or flight kicked in. He steeled himself and took a deep breath before reaching behind his back and pulling out his heat blade. It was technically supposed to be used for cutting through vines and foliage that might have blocked his path, but it was the only thing he had to defend himself. He saw the creature's eyes first, glowing from the dark, and it was massive. Katsuki wasn't someone who felt fear very often, but staring into the eyes of this unknown beast he could sense the bloodlust, the first taste of hostility they'd seen on this planet, and it had his blade trembling in his hand. Fuck, I don't wanna die yet. I didn't mean to intrude on your cave. Just let me walk away. His feet flinched backwards again. He knew the creature most definitely had no clue what the fuck he was saying, but fear makes you desperate. I don't wanna fight you, probably cause I'll lose, but I'm gonna try my damnedest. You might lose an eye or something, or you could just let me get back to my fucking ship. He gulped thickly. The creature hadn't stepped any further as he'd begun speaking. He almost deluded himself into believing he could yell his way out of this, until he felt the atmosphere shift, and he knew he had barely a second to turn and sprint as the massive creature lunged toward him, mouth snapping and heavy feet trampling against the soft ground. It was fast. He couldn't outrun it in a straight line, but at least running back into the forest meant he'd soon be surrounded by trees that would potentially slow the beast down. Thrusters. I use my oxygen as thrusters and get into a tree, a tall as fuck tree. His eyes flicked around the surroundings until he spotted one that stuck up higher than any others nearby, and he executed his plan. The creature roared, sounds from the depths of its core that made Katsuki feel as though his insides were shaking. He pointed his heat blade down at the rumbling beast as he yelled right back, wondering if maybe it would work like a bear, at least one type of bear. He forgets which one, but maybe making noise would scare it away. Fuck outta here, ugly ass piece of shit. I ain't scared of you. You can't fucking reach me up here, huh? He played up his confidence, but it faltered as the creature reared up onto its hind legs, and before Katsuki could react it was slamming its meaty front legs into the trunk of the tree he was sat in. Shit, it's gonna knock the whole damn thing over. I don't have enough oxygen to use the thrusters and still make it back to the ship without this thing directly following me there. Am I done for? For once in my damned life I shoulda listened to the fucking captain, huh? Just as he was digging through his brain for a last-ditch effort attempt to save his own ass, he heard rustling in the tree behind him. His eyes darted toward the sound as it drew nearer rapidly. There was no way he was about to get ambushed by a second threat, right? Did this planet despise him? He flinched as something green leapt from the nearby tree and landed directly in front of him. Katsuki stared at its back as the new creature stared down at the beast, and much to his surprise, the once bellowing beast immediately became quiet. It lowered its front legs back to the ground with a thud, humming a low, much softer sound, before turning and trudging back in the direction it came from. Katsuki's eyes were blown wide, his heart still racing as he watched it leave before hurriedly turning his attention to the alien creature still crouched on the branch before him. It turned its head, looking back to Katsuki, and the blond man inhaled sharply. It looked human. Their eyes locked, and Katsuki was in awe. The creature was beautiful, its skin covered in speckles that littered across its face like freckles, a face that much too strongly resembled a human, someone with pretty curls framing their cheekbones. The biggest differences Katsuki noticed instantly were of course the unnatural skin color, along with the creature's ears vaguely resembling fish fins, or bat wings, and two antenna-like protrusions on top of its head. It chirped at him, almost like a bird, before reaching a hand out to hesitantly touch his leg, and all Katsuki could do was stare. Thank you, for saving me. He assumed the alien couldn't understand him, but it didn't seem threatening, or scared of him, merely curious as it drew even closer, and that was when Katsuki noticed how the design of their space boots looked incredibly similar to the structure of this creature's legs. Oh shit, did you think I was one of you? It looked from his legs to his face, before shuffling back a little and flicking its antenna around, making more soft trilling sounds until Katsuki picked up more of them further in the distance. It looked at him again, staring into his eyes as if trying to communicate, before turning and darting off through the trees. Hey, wait. Katsuki didn't hesitate. He raced after the creature. It was clearly much faster, but he knew the general direction it went, and he was pleasantly surprised to find it sitting at the edge of the forest, looking back to him, clearly waiting. Did you understand me? But the moment he got close it rushed away again. It was leading him somewhere. Fuck. Momo would be losing her shit right now, telling me this is totally a trap, but this cute little thing wants me to follow it. Who would I be to ignore it? He huffed as he continued on what was beginning to feel like a wild goose chase. He'd been trying his best to pay attention to his surroundings, taking note of which way the ship was, but he was so enthralled by this creature that he honestly didn't have it in him to care about what would happen next. Not to be annoying, but, are we almost there yet? His steps became more lethargic. Walking such a distance in his heavy suit was draining, but luckily when he neared the creature this time it didn't run away. It merely sat in the field of grass and smiled. Katsuki let himself look around, noticing multiple fluffy structures around them, clearly handcrafted from the trees, and then he spotted the others, more creatures similar to one he'd followed here. They chirped in his direction, and his new friend chirped back. Their communication was definitely bird-like, and it sounded so sweet. He even spotted what looked like a family, 2 of the aliens and a baby. The darker one snarled in his direction and he threw his hands up in defense, stumbling backward. Whoa, I don't mean any harm. The sweet green alien rushed back toward him and stood between Katsuki and his new aggressor. They chirped back and forth until the other alien quietened down and moved back to sit with its family. You keep saving my ass, huh? Thanks. The alien merely tilted its head and reached out to hold Katsuki's sleeve, before gesturing to the round structure behind him. What's that? Is this what you wanted to show me? He let himself be pulled along, toward the ball of fuzz on stilts that he was beginning to think was most likely this creature's home, and he was being invited inside. I wish I could talk to you. Well, I guess I am. I just wish we could understand one another. He watched the alien climb inside and he was so entranced, he didn't think twice before following it in, and there they were. Katsuki and this beautiful alien creature sat face to face once again. Before he could get another meaningless word out, the alien reached out to him, patting his arms and legs as Katsuki merely watched with wide eyes. It hopped around him, inspecting, even sniffing, until its hands were on Katsuki's helmet. Oh, wait He panicked a little as the alien began pressing on the glass, a little frown settling on its brow as it grew agitated again. I can't take this off, I might die. You can't get it off, okay? He reached his hands up to grasp the alien's wrists and it paused, tilting its head in confusion and beginning to screech a little louder, pulling harder on his helmet in frustration. Stop, I can't take it off, fuck. This thing can't understand me, why the fuck am I even trying? He was freaking out at this point. And to make matters worse, he caught a glimpse of the other aliens peering in from the outside of the fuzzy hut. And as they made eye contact, the pink one jumped inside. They seemed to communicate to one another with the sounds, but then they pressed their antennae together, a faint glow emitted and Katsuki almost forgot the danger he was in. All he could think was that he wished he had a camera on him. But he was dragged out of those thoughts as the pink alien turned toward him and put its hands on his helmet. His heart sank as he felt it jostle him around. It was bigger than the green one, clearly stronger. Wait, please, I'll die. He grabbed at the creature with his gloved hands, scrambling to get out of its grasp, but it was too strong, and the moment he heard the first creaking sounds of the glass it was already too late. All he could do was hold his breath as his helmet shattered in the alien's grasp. Glass shards flew and clearly cut the creature's hands as it screeched and rushed away, but the green one only came closer again, climbing directly onto Katsuki, who had fallen onto his back. His eyes were screwed shut, refusing to take a breath even as he felt the alien's fingers brushing through his hair. It was chirping sweetly again, holding his face and clearly awaiting a reaction, but Katsuki knew the risks if anything toxic from the air got into his lungs. After getting no response, the alien leaned closer, pressing its antenna to Katsuki's head. Are you okay? The voice startled him, and he instinctively opened his eyes. The alien was staring right at him, concern laced in its expression, and Katsuki made note of the fact that his eyes weren't burning, but he still couldn't bring himself to take a breath. This color text means only Katsuki is hearing it, in his head. It's safe? What are you doing? Katsuki frowned. The alien was speaking without moving its mouth. All he could do was shake his head, but his lungs were beginning to burn, his heartbeat thumping behind his eyes as the lack of oxygen really started to get to him. He couldn't hold on much longer. You're going to die. What are you doing? It trilled agitatedly again, but before Katsuki could pass out it lunged forward, locking their mouths together. The man gasped in shock, feeling the way the creature blew air into his mouth, force-feeding him the oxygen he was so desperately lacking. But all he could focus on was the fact he was being kissed. When the creature pulled back, Katsuki could feel how warm his cheeks were. but the shock distracted him from the fact that he was now breathing in this planet's air. Why didn't you just breathe? Stupid. Huh? You almost died. Are your kind always this difficult? But I thought I would die if I did breathe. I don't know what this air will do to me. In fact, I still don't. Just cause I didn't die immediately doesn't mean the effects won't come later. You could have killed me. Why did you break my helmet? Humph, I just don't understand what you are. Oh, I'm a human. I'm from another planet. We traveled through space. Coming here was kind of an accident though. Wait, how can I hear you in my head? How are we suddenly able to communicate? We'll be linked until I link with someone else. It pointed up to its head, to the antenna there, and Katsuki remembered how they'd been pressed against his head. I wasn't sure it would work since you don't have any. It drew closer again, practically climbing back onto his lap as it brushed a hand through his hair, before trailing down to touch his face. It was clearly very curious, but Katsuki couldn't help the way his heart began to race. Ah, you and your friends. You don't want to hurt me, right? Humph, I saved your life, even if you didn't deserve it after disturbing a sacred beast. I'm offended you think I'd do all that just to hurt you. Of course, sorry, I had to make sure. I mean, I'm stuck on this planet with no way of getting home. I'm a little uneasy. But what was that about a sacred beast? He asked, gulping thickly as he got no response. The alien was still too busy examining his facial features, letting its fingers brush over his eyes and nose, but just as it moved to pull apart his lips, Katsuki flinched back. I don't even like being touched. This is excessive. The alien's eyes widened and it shifted back, clambering off his lap as it nervously played with its fingers. Sorry, I've never seen anything so similar to my kind, but still with so many differences. Same here. They stared at one another in silence, probably for a few moments too long, but both were so naturally inquisitive it felt comfortable. Do you have a name? The alien tilted its head with a frown, clearly confused. How do you and the others refer to one another? It made a small chirping sound and Katsuki hummed in thought. I'm BAKUGO Katsuki. My friends are Kirishima, Yuruka, Yomomo and Jiro. The alien was listening intently, but all it could respond with was that same chirping sound. So is that your name? I guess it's our equivalent? Can't you translate it through my mind, like you are now? Turn it into something I can say? I'm not translating anything, we're linked. Whatever I'm thinking will just automatically become understandable to you and vice versa. Well, why won't it translate your name? He grumbled and couldn't hold back his pout, which only made the alien chirp sweetly, almost like a laugh as its cheeks fogged over a darker shade of bluish-green. Katsuki found it adorable. Izuku, that might be close. Izuku. Its eyes widened and cheeks flushed darker as it heard the name spoken aloud. I like it. Oh, shit, I almost forgot. Was that pink one okay? It was bleeding from my helmet. Oh, she's okay. I suppose I can give you names to call them all. Mina. She's strong. She was just shocked, but Sue would have healed her, so don't worry. She, her, so, your kind also has genders? But, excuse me if this is inappropriate, but you don't seem to have any genitalia? Oh, I'm not sure I understand. The soul is just the way it is. I'm the same as you in that sense. You're a guy? You're really pretty. He stared as Izuku blushed again, looking away as Katsuki shamelessly admired him, until he fully realized what the alien had said and snapped out of it. Wait, it's based on your soul? Holy shit, I'm learning too much to remember it all. I really need to get back to my team. Your friends are just as stupid as you are, walking around stabbing things with their heads cased in bubbles. Pfft, they're researching. We were all worried the air was toxic to us. Izuku merely rolled his eyes and hopped down from the hut, looking back and expecting Katsuki to follow, which he did, and found himself surrounded by the other aliens again. They all reached out curiously, touching his arms and boots, chirping and trilling curiously, until the pink one, who Katsuki now knew as Mina, held her hand up toward him expectantly. She's showing you that the cuts are gone. She's okay. Oh, I see, I'm glad. He smiled and nodded at her, making her squeak and smile back. Katsuki had so many questions, but as he looked back up he noticed Izuku still crawling away, so of course he followed. You should tell your friends to take off their bubbles, and to stop hurting the planet. Hurting it? It would be better if you stopped your research. Your ship is in that direction. Right, thank you again, for everything? He was fumbling nervously. He didn't want to overstay his welcome, but he didn't want to leave yet. He wanted to ask if he was welcome back. but also didn't want to push the boundaries of what this new intelligent life form had already given him. So he simply watched Izuku head back to his group, before turning and making his way back to the ship. Our link will break soon. Holy shit, you scared me. The further you get the weaker it becomes until it's broken. Find me again tomorrow. I can come back. I'm inviting you back. Katsuki's chest swelled and he continued his trek back with a little more vigor, signature grin plastered to his face the whole way. When he finally arrived he was starving, but before he could eat his team were surrounding him in total panic. Dude, what the fuck happened to your helmet? It's completely shattered. You breathed outside? I'm totally fine. Let me just explain and get some damn food. You can explain while I'm checking you. Get over here for Christ's sake. Fine, of course, do whatever you need, but I swear I'm okay. What the hell happened, dude? I met something. Met? Did you communicate with an alien? Katsuki nodded with a giddy smile and his teammates were all instantly hooked, Eureka even pausing midway through her examination to freeze in shock and curiosity. Okay, so, don't get mad, but when the comms weren't working I may have actually been in quite a load of shit. Were you attacked? I was chased, but I'm fine, so don't dwell on that. The point is, I was sat in this tree, totally about to get eaten by this thing. Great, there's a man-eating beast on this planet, of course there is, but I didn't get eaten, did I? Please get to the point. What the hell did you see? Excuse me for trying to tell a compelling story. Dude, come on. Alright, this creature jumped out in front of me, and I swear to God it didn't do a single thing, but the massive ugly beast just gave up and walked away. Where's the sense in that? You're saying the new creature saved you? Yup, and then he took me back to his little village. Huh? Katsuki told his friends everything he'd learned, jumbling the order of events a few times due to sheer excitement, going back when he remembered something he'd forgotten to mention. Meanwhile his team listened in awe. Eureka had completely stopped running her tests as she became engrossed in what Katsuki had to say, and who could blame her? They were astronauts at the end of the day. Their biggest passion in life was space, learning new things about the universe they lived in. Wait, you said the one named Sue healed the pink one? Mina, yeah. I have no idea how I didn't get the chance to ask, but I'm not kidding. She used her bare hands to crush my helmet and I saw them bleeding. She was seriously hurt, and about 10 minutes later there she was showing me her completely unscathed hands. It was insane. That could change everything, if we learned more about it. Exactly, you have to come back there with me tomorrow. I still have to keep working on the ship. That's fine, only Jiro and Eureka need to come. Why me? You can bring the camera. You were always the best at documenting shit like this. He's right, I should stay here with Kirishima and you three should head back to do more research. Oh wait, about that. Izuku told me we need to stop testing everything. What? But we need to do the research? He said the samples are harming the planet. That doesn't make any sense. They're just tiny samples, it can't be affecting that much. This is our job, BAKUGO, we can't just not do it. We don't know this ecosystem like they do. If he's asked us to stop, we have to stop? But I just found this crazy stuff in a cave today. It was giving off so much energy. If we figure out how to extract it properly, I'm pretty sure it could totally buff our power supply. I might even be able to rig the comms to get a message back to Earth. Sigh. Alright, can you at least wait until I've spoken to Izuku again tomorrow? They all looked to Momo expectantly and Katsuki was practically pleading with just the look in his eye. He's never been the type to beg. Fine. We'll pause the research until you can communicate with it well enough to come to an understanding. Right, yeah, sorry. We have to respect them, Cap, we're intruding on their home. Of course. Hey dude, you know I'm your best friend, right? And I love you to bits? Duh, sap. I say this out of love, you're absolutely insane. Hey, I know, right? Also, fix the dem comms, they don't reach far enough. You got so lucky. One of these days you'll do something so reckless you'll actually die, but I guess at least then my meds will last longer. Haha, you'll be thanking me when I'm making friends with what's clearly the most intelligent and powerful species on this planet. The next day. It's just a little further, as long as I'm not completely lost. You better not be. I swear to God, if we run into one of those so-called sacred beasts, I'm leaving you behind and running. Hey wait, there's definitely a clearing up ahead. Oh thank fuck, I was actually so sure I was going the wrong way. They pushed through the last few trees and Katsuki's face lit up as he spotted Izuku waiting for him. Oh my god, I wasn't lying to you. He's beautiful. Katsuki hummed in agreement as they walked closer, and Izuku smiled up at him. holding his hand out for Katsuki to take, and when he did he was pulled down so the alien could once again press his antenna to his head. Well done for not getting lost, and for getting them to take their bubbles off. But I wasn't expecting you to bring them along. He looked over just as Jiro snapped a photo of the two of them with their hands still linked, which only made Katsuki pull back shyly and throw her an embarrassed glare. I don't want to be in the photos. What's that? Oh, it's a camera. I guess you could say it captures a moment and makes it last forever. Izuku inquisitively moved closer to Jiro, making the girl step back in uncertainty with wide eyes. Oh come on, he just wants to see the camera. I've never been this close to an alien, especially not one this intelligent. Let him do his antenna thing, then you can talk. Oh I can only make one link at a time. That's okay. We can link again after, right? Katsuki thought it was a fine suggestion, but Izuku seemed hesitant. He looked back to Jiro before stepping back away from the camera and closer to Katsuki again with a pout settling on his lips. I don't think I want to. Oh, hey, what's he saying? He's a little shy. He doesn't want to link with you guys. That's perfectly okay with me. Hey little guy, where's that one that can do the magical healing? Yurika cooed down at Izuku, making the alien frown as he slowly looked from her to Bakugo. Why is she talking to me like that? Oh, do you not understand? No, but even still I can tell she's treating me like a child. Pfft, Yurika, you're offending him. I'm sorry? Hey, how old are you anyway? 8,135 cycles. What about you? Huh? What? Why do you look like that? Wait, what's a cycle? 1 cycle of the sun, before it becomes dark? Oh, a day? Christ, I thought you were saying you were 8,000 years old. I don't understand. We call time different measurements, but don't worry, we're about the same age if you're a little over 22. 22? Whatever you say. Oh, he's our age? No wonder I offended him. Katsuki. Bakugo's eyes widened a little at the sound of his first name. He couldn't help the way his cheeks flushed pink as he looked toward the alien. I want to trust you, and learn more about you, so I don't mind inviting your friends into the tribe, but you should have asked. Of course, that's my bad. We're just really excited to learn more about you two. Izuku chirped sweetly and his mouth curved up into a smile, making Yurika unable to hold back her little gasp at once again just how pretty this creature was. How many pictures do I take? I've taken so many, I can't stop. This is the craziest thing I've ever experienced. Calm down, oh my god. We're going to follow him to meet the rest of them, okay? The magical healing one? We're ready whenever you are, Izuku. He led the humans further into the field until their fluffy homes came into view, and the rest of the aliens emerged curiously. Bakugo couldn't help wondering if the girls looked just as he did the first time he saw all of this, eyes full of curious whimsy and awe just as the aliens mimicked it back to them. Hey, they'll be alright with the others, right? Of course, I believe they'll most likely form links with some of my friends. Why? I was wondering if we could chat for a while? The alien blinked up at him, clearly trying to decipher Katsuki's intentions, but the blonde man wasn't even sure what those were himself. Okay, come back to my nest. Oh, you call them nests? That makes so much sense. We gather fallen tree tufts and mold them to shape over time. Of course we have to keep building them up as time passes too, so they don't get too thin and worn down. Wouldn't it be faster to harvest them from the trees directly? The moment he asked the question, Izuku turned to look at him. It was a look of such horror that Bakugo honestly thought he'd just cursed the creature's entire bloodline. He froze on the spot just outside of the nest as Izuku glared down at him for a moment longer, before making a frustrated trill and turning back inside for Bakugo to follow. Ahem, I'll assume I shouldn't have suggested that. If we went around taking whatever we wanted whenever we wanted it, then this planet would be in complete ruin. Really? From just a few trees? We can't take before it's ready. You can't disturb the balance, which I'm assuming you spoke to your friends about, since the tall woman hasn't been out poking things today. Momo, she's our captain, leader of sorts. She's actually expecting me to convince you to allow us to keep researching. Well, you cannot. There's no need for it. She's hoping to find things about your planet that could help our kind back on ours. That's all. Help you with what? Do you not have everything you need? Well, we have plenty, but humans are known to be quite greedy. Besides, don't you guys have diseases, sickness, things that can't be cured? Nothing is incurable. You find a healer and it's fine. A healer, like that other green alien? Like me. Oh, you're a healer too? Well, we look alike, do we not? Sue and I I assumed you were just related or something. We are of the same descent. Wow, you really know nothing, huh? Hey, don't imply I'm stupid, it's just really different here. The alien let out that same chirpy laughter again, and Katsuki's offended frown morphed into a shameless smile. Why do you look at me like that? Oh, should I not have asked? No, it's not your fault, it's just embarrassing. I don't mean to stare, you're just really pretty. Is it normal for your kind to compliment others' appearances? I guess. I mean, it doesn't have to mean anything more than an observation, really. I see. So you aren't attempting to court me? Court you? You don't wish to begin a mating procedure? No. We aren't even the same species, and I don't know you at all. Really? I am already expected to mate with another, so I'm glad to not disappoint you. Oh, you are? From the same tribe Hanta came from. I apologize for his behavior yesterday. He has grown rather territorial and protective ever since Tato was formed. Hanta, the one that was mad at me? With the baby? That makes sense. He was protecting his family. Tato is still only in the very early stages of growth. She was only formed 204 cycles ago. She's not even a year old yet. Her mother was incredibly beautiful. Tato doesn't have a mother. I'll assume you mean Shoto. His patterning is very desirable, but he doesn't have strong abilities. Hanta's tribe almost forbade their mating, but they couldn't stop him. Theirs is a soul connection, not one of practicality. Christ, I'm struggling to wrap my head around all this shit. They're both male, but they made a baby? I don't see how being male means anything here. Humans don't work like that. Only a pairing of male and female can create a baby. Oh, that's rather inconvenient. Tell me about it. Well, how do your kind create babies? Katsuki choked on his saliva as soon as the question was asked, and Izuku instantly sprung up in panic, hopping closer and reaching out to hold the coughing man's face. What happened? Can I help? Fuck, no, I'm fine. You caught me off guard. Explaining that process is not something I've ever had to do. Is it uncomfortable? It's just sort of sensitive for us, I guess. How do you do it? Izuku tilted his head and shuffled back a little, figuring that a verbal answer wouldn't fully suffice, so he held out both his hands. Press your palms against mine. Wait, you don't mean, we aren't going to? Oh my god, what do you take me for? Obviously we're not going to actually make a baby. Right, of course, just making sure. He cleared his throat awkwardly before doing as he was instructed, their palms pressed together between them, and Izuku closed his eyes, leaning forward until his antenna once again pressed against Katsuki's head. The moment they made contact, the man felt as though his nerves were split open. His body pulsed with a sudden and harsh flow of new sensations, making him instinctively pull away from Izuku in shock. What the fuck was that? We connected a little more than just a normal link. I was just showing you the process. You could feel what I feel. That was like, painful. Sorry, maybe your kind aren't built for it. All that happens is you connect every part of yourself with another, and if you both truly wish for a baby with one another, then it should work, as long as neither has any doubts. It just spawns a baby into existence? No, the connection has to last as long as it takes to form an orb. Then you have to take care of the orb and provide warmth and energy until the baby grows. Oh, so kinda like an egg, but still, gender doesn't matter, huh? Of course not. It's even been known for people to create a baby alone. Wow, you're so fascinating. Why do humans have to be so complicated and messy? It does seem as though your kind isn't built the most efficiently. Definitely not. For starters, making a baby is so unnecessarily difficult. The poor women have to carry it inside them for months and birth the grown thing from their parts. You don't even have any of those. And speaking of those, men have one and women have a different one, which is why you can only make a baby with two people of opposite sex by connecting them together. Straight people enjoy that part somehow, but he trailed off from his rambling as he noticed how the alien was looking at him, absolutely mortified. That sounds horrifying. Sorry. No, I wanted to learn. I suppose I can see why you want to research. If everything on your planet is as complicated as that, then I can imagine wanting to make it easier. That's why Eureka is so interested in Tsu. She's, I guess, our kind's version of a healer. But she doesn't have any more abilities than anyone else. She's just worked really hard to learn everything she can about medicine and sickness and how the human body works. I give her a lot of slack, but I'm sure I wouldn't be alive without her. Do you think she will be your mate? What? Absolutely not. Izuku physically jumped back in shock at Katsuki's visceral reaction. He didn't even have it in him to apologize as he was so taken aback. God, that's horrifying to think about. She's like a little sister to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Besides, I'm not interested in girls. Ah, that's okay, neither am I, though I'm not entirely sure about my mate either. You're not? Then why would you be with him? After Hanta and Shoto became a couple, it was kind of expected that our tribes would merge, but after their blatant rejection of Shoto to begin with, Hanta just ended up deflecting from them. So why would you want to mate with someone from the same tribe that already rejected Shoto? Because they want to atone, by allowing me to mate with their, I suppose, most beautiful and powerful member. We would combine tribes and gain more land, more resources, more power, and it just makes sense to combine. Can't you do so without mating? It's tradition. I see. When are you supposed to go through with it? In 57 cycles. That's just a couple months. But you don't even seem like you want to. Do you actually know the guy? I met him when we were younger. His tribe will be here in 24 cycles to start the courting process. I hate to admit, but I'm quite easily pleased. I'm sure he'll win me over quite quickly. I guess it's not my place to get involved. But I still want to teach you more about us, and learn more about you. We can spend however long you'll give me until then. I'd love that. Can you tell me about these powers you have? The two of them spent hours chatting. Katsuki had all but forgotten he'd even brought the two girls along, as he was so engrossed in talking with Izuku. It wasn't until the sun was beginning to set and his stomach was grumbling after having nothing to eat since the morning, that finally he heard Jiro calling his name. Bakugo, come on, we need to head back now? Ah, right, of course. We've been gone way too long. Will you be back? Of course. Bright and early tomorrow. I'll remember to bring snacks. All right. Please remember what I said about the Phaserite. I may be able to help you, but you cannot let your friends rush into it blindly. Of course. Thank you. See you tomorrow. The trio bid their farewells before beginning the trek back to their ship, and Katsuki had so much he needed to tell them all, while also having so many questions for the two who spent their entire day with the aliens as well. So when they made it back, they instantly gathered for a team discussion. How'd it go? They're so incredible. Did you discuss our research? Cha, I discussed a lot more than just that. Listen, Cap, I understand your urgency, but you really need to understand the situation at hand here. Cut her some slack, Bakugo. She hasn't even seen them yet. Give her a chance to understand. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to be patient, but it's difficult, especially when... She trailed off, glancing to Kirishima nervously as the redhead sighed. I can't repair the comms, not even to reach further on this planet, let alone get a message 1,000 light years through space. We need to get some of that energy source. I wanted to talk about some of the more interesting and fun stuff I learned, but if you want to get right to business, then sure, we can cut all that out. I'm sorry, Bakugo, but... Nah, it's fine. You'll be happy to hear that Izuku wants to let us have some Phaserite, but if we try and mine it ourselves, we will literally explode and die, so unfortunately you're just going to have to wait for me to learn the correct way. It's called Phaserite? That's cool, but I definitely don't want to blow up. Glad I didn't try taking it myself. I linked with Tsu today and she told me all about her healing. Bakugo, did you know Izuku can heal too? He told me today as well. You'll come back with me tomorrow, right? Obviously. I really loved talking to her. I can't wait to go back. Well, if Izuku is going to explain the mining to you tomorrow, could I maybe join you? Of course, dude. I'd love if everyone came along to meet them. He glanced to Momo, but the captain merely looked down to her notes with a sigh. We can't leave the ship unattended. I'll stay here. Then I'll stay with you tomorrow. Cha, fine. The next day Katsuki found himself following Izuku away from the village. The moment he'd asked about the Phaserite, Izuku insisted that Kirishima had to stay behind with Denki. He had to do something with Bakugo, alone. Of course the blonde man was internally freaking out a tiny bit. Whether it was nerves or excitement he couldn't tell, but he was so distracted by making up scenarios in his head that he was hardly paying attention to their surroundings. Do you understand what we're doing yet? No? Katsuki snapped out of his daze and actually looked around, realizing they were right back at the cliffs with the caves where Izuku had first saved Katsuki from a sacred beast. Wait, what the hell are we doing here? You owe it an apology. What? Why would I apologize to that thing? It could have killed me. Because it's sacred, and you disturbed it. I didn't even know it was in there. I was just exploring. It attacked me the moment it saw me. It's still a beast, stupid. Of course it attacks on sight. Then it should apologize to me. Do you want the Phaserite? I personally don't particularly care, but If you want it, then you need to earn the beast's trust. Seriously? You saw the patterning on it when it attacked you, right? Yeah. Certain scales on the beast resonate strongly with Phaserite. We have to wait for it to shed some of its scales and collect them to use for harvesting. Phaserite is extremely volatile. Using the sacred beast's scales allows us to loosen it from the cave walls smoothly. Yeesh, that's complicated. It's the natural order. We respect the beast and it respects us. It allows us to collect its shedding because it's useful to us and keeps its habitat neat. But it won't allow you in there to collect any after you disrespected it. Alright, fine. How do I apologize? It'll probably take some time. You need to show it you aren't afraid and you mean no harm. It will attack you on sight again, probably many times before it understands. Cha, is this thing stupid or something? I mean, it's not as intelligent as you or I, but all creatures deserve respect. Ahem, right, totally, fine, I'll go put my life on the line for a dim rock. He sighed and trudged out of the trees toward the cave's opening, feeling his heart rate increase a little nervously. Just as Izuku predicted, the beast emerged from the cave and instantly lunged at Katsuki, making the man yelp and run back into the trees. Izuku, you suck, what the hell am I supposed to do? He noticed the alien perched up in a tree, and he had the audacity to giggle down at him as he continued running. Eventually Katsuki slowed down as he realized the beast hadn't even bothered to chase him this time, and now he was feeling frustrated. He made the fatal mistake of storming right back over there. Oi, I'm here to apologize, dumbass. What's the point in attacking me, huh? He hollered, and the beast immediately turned to glare at him again. Izuku sighed and watched as Katsuki repeatedly tempted fate. It continued that way for hours, until Izuku gave up for the day and dragged him back home. Much to Momo's dismay, this daily ritual of Bakugo's attempted apology continued for about a week, though he wasn't always entirely truthful when recounting his time with Izuku, as the two had a habit of getting distracted by one another and giving up on the apology much too soon. Instead, they spent hours talking, laughing, learning about one another and the history of their worlds. Bakugo was spending more time with him than he was his own team, and he'd never felt more excited to wake up every day, until finally he believed today was the day he would manage to get through to the beast. But just as he was making progress, enough to become face to face without fear, he let his guard down, and that's when the beast actually landed a hit, slicing his shoulder before Izuku could step in and drag him away. Shit, that fucking hurts, you know. I'm sorry, you were doing well. The stupid thing is so stubborn. He grumbled as Izuku dragged him deeper into the forest, getting far enough away from the cave before forcing the man to sit in front of him. I need to get back to the village so Yuruka can patch me up. I'm going to heal you. Oh. Sit here and breathe steadily. Give me your hands. Katsuki gulped and did as he was asked, or at least he tried to, but as he placed his hands onto Izuku's and stared at him up close, face to face, he couldn't get his heart rate to settle for the life of him. Are you alright? Is the pain too much? Sorry, no, I'm just having a hard time calming down. He cleared his throat and once again tried his best to steady his heartbeat, but how could he when Izuku was right there holding his hands, looking so beautiful and unreal. I love the sound of your heart. The voice in his head was soft, and Izuku had moved closer, placing a hand directly over Katsuki's heart in his chest. Huh, what do you mean by that? When we're linked I can sense it. It's a wonderful way to gauge how you're feeling. It makes a lovely sound, and the rhythm is comforting, especially when you're looking at me. Fuck. Katsuki breathed and had to look away. He could feel how his face was burning, along with his shoulder where his cut was slowly healing under the alien's touch. Why do you look away? I like it when you look at me. I still don't completely understand how it works for you, but humans can't always control how they feel. I get overwhelmed being so close to you, looking into your eyes for too long, feeling your hands on me. You don't like it? It's not that. It's hard to explain. I thought you said you weren't interested in courting me? He asked the question so innocently, as though they were merely discussing today's weather. But Katsuki felt the way his heart jumped. How could he possibly be feeling anything romantic for an alien? Fuck Izuku, you're just the prettiest thing I've ever seen. It's normal for someone to feel a little flustered. I'm flattered. You should be, you know. I don't really ever find people attractive. Well, I'm not people, am I? Cha, don't make me sound like a freak who only likes aliens. Pfft, isn't that the truth? Are you flirting with me? If that's a step in courting, then perhaps I am, unintentionally. Oh, you intrigue me, more than anything I've ever known. I feel the same. They stared again. The tension was palpable, and as Katsuki found himself glancing down at Isuka's lips, briefly remembering the way he'd pressed them against his own the first time they'd met, reminiscing about how soft they were, he knew he couldn't lie to himself anymore. He was attracted to an alien. End of part 1. Help me, this was such a struggle. You don't understand how long it took for me to design and draw all the alien versions of the characters, and the planet itself, and then to come up with background lore and shit for the space travel technology and how stuff worked on the planet. When I decided to do this idea, I thought it was just going to be silly and goofy, and then I stupidly put a ton of thought into everything and made it not that. I hope you guys are actually interested. I'm so worried most people aren't even gonna wanna watch a video with this concept, and then those of you who even have are going to think this was so boring. It's just because it's the first part. I had to establish the world and everything, you know? Explain things that seem like just info dumping, but I tried my best to make it interesting. I swear the next parts will be way more fun because we won't need so much of that lore explaining. Anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. I hope you come back for part 2.